Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Mr. Hescox here in the third section of Chapter 2. We have finished up respiration. We have finished up photosynthesis. Now we're going to talk about moving materials within and out of a cell. But your warm-up question there is, what are the final products of photosynthesis? The final products of photosynthesis are 6 oxygens and a glucose molecule. So let's get started here. You will have some reading from the text and then the review that goes with 2.3. Materials move across the membrane, so it's very important to get stuff in and out of the cell membrane. One of the ways we do that is by diffusion. Diffusion is movement of particles of a substance from a high concentration to a low concentration. You can think about it as they move from a place where they're really tightly packed or bumping into each other to where they can spread out, kind of like people from the city where it's really high packed of people moving to the country where they can have more ground and spread out. Some examples of things that diffuse: carbon dioxide gas diffuses out of our lungs and into the air when we exhale. Oxygen has to diffuse from the air and into our blood. They can move through the small gaps in the membrane. Some other things that tend to diffuse: glucose, which is the sugar that we burn, and cell wastes have to diffuse out of the cell as well. Well, we call this passive transport, moving things across the cell membrane without using energy. The key there has to be without. Very important. Because when we use energy, we're forcibly doing it. You're actively doing it. We'll come up later. That's called active transport. Osmosis is a special type of diffusion with water. Water a wilted plant and it will fill back up. So make sure that you guys are watching these little videos. This osmosis one is really cool. Let's talk about osmosis here. So if I put a plant cell in water, these blue dots represent the water. The plant cell itself has water inside of it. What will happen our plant cell, when it's put in pure water, that cell will grow or swell because the water, represented here by these blue dots, balances out. Each blue dot represents a water molecule. Before, there was an unequal number of dots on the outside compared to the inside. So when your mom waters her plants in the summertime, the cells fill up with water because there's more water on the outside. It gets pumped inside and now the cell swells with it. At the same time, if I take my plant cell and I put my plant cell in salt water, so there's not a lot of water out here, but I have lots of water inside the cell. The water will actually leave because it goes from a high concentration to a low. And what's going to happen the cell gets all wrinkly and it shrinks as the water evens out. I made the drops bigger so it's harder to see. So that last slide should have said cell shrinks. The exact opposite of passive transport is active transport. Active transport involves materials crossing the membrane that have to be pumped or moved because of using energy. There's lots of these things called protein pumps in your cells that actually move stuff through. There's different types of ways of going what they call endocytosis. Endo means inside, enter. So a large piece of material is captured inside, and I have a video of that coming up soon. I have exocytosis. Exocytosis is when you get rid of cells, usually by a vesicle or something. It can be waste, it can be hormones. Endocytosis is taking something in to enter. Exocytosis is to get rid of. I believe your book talks a little bit about getting rid of hormones and things, or as far as pumps. There are sodium potassium pumps in your nerves that actually allow them to keep working. Make sure you watch this video on the amoebas, it's cool. That's how a pump works. Why can't cells just keep getting bigger? Cells just can't keep getting bigger because they have to have a huge surface area to volume ratio. You have to have a surface area to volume of 2,500 times the volume for a cell to survive. Anything less than that, and it is not efficient enough to get enough stuff in or out of the cell. Okay, that takes us to the end of that. I would like to come up with a couple ideas on how active transport and passive transport are the same and how they are different. So go ahead and pause this video, come up with some answers. So let's make a little chart here. So we've got active on one side, we'll put passive on the other. Active uses energy. Passive has no energy. Active transport goes low to high concentration. Passive transport goes high to low. Now, how are they both the same? They both move stuff through the membrane. Well, okay, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we kind of talked about the way they're different, where they're alike. They're alike because they both move stuff through the membrane. They're different in the fact that one needs energy, one doesn't use energy. One goes from high to low, the other one goes from low to high. If you think about it this way, here's your mountainside. Here's a little guy at the top of the mountain getting ready to run down, right? It's easy to go down. So if you're going from high to low, that's passive. But if you're going up the mountain from low to high, that's active. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for paying attention. Make sure you get your work done and be good and be safe. And until next time, I'm Mr. Hescox signing out.